Can we talk about romanticizing America? I have a lot to say about this, and I mostly find that the relationship that the rest of the world has with the US is odd, to say the least. But let's for now focus on this type of mentality. And absolutely no hate to the commenter, this is a fair and honest question. But he, like so many others, see America as this land of opportunity, which, I might add, is exactly what the US propaganda machine wants you to see it as. So assuming that this person is Portuguese, let's see if it is possible for him to go to the US and make 4 times as much, not knowing any specifics about his life. Current minimum wage in Portugal is 820 euros per month, but it's paid out in 14 months. So if you divide those 14 payments back into 12, it's 957 euro per month, which right now is about $1,040. Minimum wage in the US is calculated on an hourly basis, and federally, meaning across the whole country, even though some states have different laws, it is $7.25 per hour. The longest work month of the year is 176 hours, so at $7.25 per hour, you're going to make a maximum of $1,276 per month. And you're not getting anything extra. You're not getting any extra paid months. You're not getting any paid time off. You're not getting any benefits. You would be just over the federal poverty line, so you might be eligible for some things like government subsidized healthcare. So if we're just comparing minimum wages, that's what you've got. But let's say we go to somewhere like New York City, where minimum wage is $16 an hour. Now, at that same work month, you're making $2,816. Okay, so now we've almost tripled our Portuguese minimum wage. But let's look at the cost of living. Lisbon and New York City are about as comparable as we can get, so we're going to compare those two. I just looked on Idealista. I found a bedroom in a shared flat in Lisbon for 400 euro per month. Shitty? Absolutely, but that's what we're looking at. So that takes 42% of your minimum wage. In New York City, I found a comparable room for $1,000 per month, which is 36% of your minimum wage. Okay, so that might indicate that you're a little bit better off in New York City, but then you have to pay for things like the metro in New York City. You have to pay for food in New York City. Those things are expensive. And yes, I know that I'm comparing the most expensive places in both of these countries, but where it's cheaper, especially in the US, you're going to be making even less money. But this is all about being at the bottom of the barrel, right? Making minimum wage, which I do not believe is where the glamorization and romanticization of America comes from. I was in Albania a few months ago, and I had this tour guide, this young Albanian tour guide, who said to me, "Why do you live in Portugal when you could live in the US? I dream of living in the US. There's so much opportunity in the US." So I do get that sentiment a fair bit, and usually I just smile and nod my head, but we were going to spend several hours together, so I engaged him. And so I said, "Oh yeah? So tell me, what do you think is amazing about it? What's the opportunity?" And he was like, "Oh, you can do anything. You can be successful at anything." And he started listing different careers that you could do. And one of them, he said, was an artist. And I was like, huh. And so I stopped him and I was like, you really genuinely believe that you can be successful as an artist in the US? And he was like, yeah, of course. And I get it. It's not impossible. There's people like Arnold Schwarzenegger, an immigrant artist who's very successful. But there's literally over 1 million people who immigrate into the US every year. What about all the rest of them? You're seeing the teeniest, tiniest sliver from the very top that are seeing success. Now, don't get me wrong. If you are coming from a war-torn, impoverished country and you can immigrate into the US, it is a huge opportunity because it is a categorically safer place to be. But that's not what I'm talking about, right? I'm talking about people who come from relatively wealthy countries with things like socialized healthcare and free education. Personally, I don't know how those people look at the US and say, yes, that's a better place. And yes, there are definitely mid-level careers that you could be making 4 times as much in the US than in Portugal. But currently, everyone and their mother are fighting over those job openings because there are too many applicants and not enough jobs. So I truly hope that young people who dream of these streets paved in gold dig a little deeper and understand the dangers that every American lives with just dangling over their head. From the cost of living crisis to the fact that people with master's degrees are fighting for jobs and are better off washing dishes because there's no opportunity, to the fact that even with the best health insurance, you're still going to be spending thousands every year on your healthcare, if you even choose to go to the doctor, which most of us don't because it's too expensive. To the fact that our politicians are bought and sold by lobbyists, so nothing about our gun violence epidemic will ever change. To the fact that women's rights are being flushed down the toilet and gay rights are following right behind them. And that with these elections coming up in November, it's all sitting on this precipice about to fall and completely crumble. Anyways, it's not as cute as Hollywood makes it out to be. It never has been.